Hey guys, DJ here at Top Tech Cards and Games, and today I'm going to be talking about the Scheherazade Reanimator deck. Scheherazade isn't really a huge component of the deck as far as being like your J-roll or anything. You really play her mostly for Liberator of Wind to stack a land at the start of your game, or a stone rather. Still trying to get that down. But anyway, you play her mostly for that ability. You can flip her to tutor up a couple of different combo pieces. This is a combo deck. If you're not familiar with how Reanimator works in this game, I'll explain it throughout this video. We play cards of basically every color. I don't think there's any... Oh yeah, there's just cards of every color in here, never mind. Which is why we use this really greedy and painful mana base with 4 Magic Stone of Moonshade, 4 Magic Stone of Moonlight, 1 Little Red the Pure Stone, and 1 Feetsing. Feetsing is there to protect our combo, which again, I'll explain when I get there. Little Red helps us just deal extra damage, and we can pick whatever color we want. We're going to start every game with one of these Magic Stone of Moonshades in play. That way we can get this one or the Magic Stone of Moonlight to produce whatever color of will we want and be able to play our cards from all our colors. You might be asking or saying to yourself, wow, it's crazy to play all these different painful cards in a format with Bahamut and other terrifyingly fast decks. But we can actually reasonably race Bahamut with this deck. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but we do have ways to do it, and that's really our goal. To just go off on turn 4, so roughly the same turn Bahamut is looking to kill you on, but we have a couple ways to slow them down, and if we're on the play, we can kill them before they would kill us. So that's what we're aiming to do. It doesn't work 100% of the time, but it is a ton of fun, and this deck has been getting a ton of support, super low-key. People haven't really been talking about it since early in the game's life, but it just keeps getting little buffs here and there, and I really like the deck right now. Let's just start off with our loot creatures. They're going to put stuff into our discard pile for us to get back. We have 4 Knight of the New Moon, 4 Guinevere, and 4 40 Thieves. Guinevere is the biggest boost this deck has ever received since it got the combo printed. Guinevere lets us draw 2, discard a card continuously since we can just sack our other creatures. Used 40 Thieves, used other cantrip creatures, and just continuously get deeper into our deck, get 2 cards deeper, and then put another card into our discard pile to reanimate. Knight of the New Moon is also incredibly good in this deck, letting us draw 1 and discard 1 every single turn to fill up our graveyard. And 40 Thieves just gives us the biggest punch. You get to play it, you can put your entire combo in your graveyard on the spot. But yeah, that's 12 different guys that let us put different things into our discard piles. On top of those, we have another 6 creatures that cantrip on their own just to dig a little deeper into our deck and block. We have 4 Hanzo Hattori and 2 Cheshire Cat. This number might look a little bit strange to some people, but Hanzo is incredibly good in the meta right now. Being able to block Bahamut is so valuable. Much more valuable than the little bit deeper Cat digs you in the Brainstorm effect of shuffling away a dead card. Hanzo is just super important. Your sideboard would probably even include some Rucks to help that matchup a little bit more, just to block. But yeah, we have 6 more cards to dig us deeper. That's 18 different creatures that are going to dig us deeper into our deck. On top of that, we have 4 copies of Nostradamus. Another card that has been criminally underrated when I've seen people talk about this deck. I haven't seen a ton of them in deck lists. Nostradamus is just super strong. It lets you stack whatever combo piece you're missing on top of your deck, and then just find it on next turn. Like I said, our goal is to go off turn 4, so we can loot the first 2 turns, put cards into our graveyard, play this, find whatever we're missing, stack it on top. Turn 4, we've got it. Now we can get to our combo pieces. The main win condition for our deck is Yamada. What in the world is this guy's full name? Yamada no Orochi, the 8 Disasters. We're just going to call him Yamada. We're going to try to reanimate this guy with Genesis of Creation, which we play 4 of, to get back both him and Refarth, which we also play 4 of. Once you do that, you can use the Refarth effect, pump up your Yamada, and just attack 6 times for 4,800 damage. Sometimes that's not going to work. Your opponent's going to have too many blockers, at which point you're just going to kill their board and attack them in the face for as much as you can. Since this guy's got target attack and haste, he's just going to destroy their board. On top of that, we have some other reanimate spells and fatties. We have 3 copies of Mephistopheles and 3 copies of Book of Ebon. What we're looking to do with these cards is really just slow the game down. We can reanimate Mephistopheles on turn 3 to block against Bahamut, which is certain to buy you some time. If they don't have a ton of Regalia, they're not going to be able to kill it, so it's going to really slow the game down. And if they have enough, they're going to trade a turn and one of their Regalia to get rid of it. most of the time, if they have like 3 white swords, and God bless their champion. But on top of that, this is kind of like an enter effect, but it's not actually an enter in that you have to play it from your hand. This card just has to enter the field. So you can play Genesis of Creation, get back like Book of Ebon and Meth, and then with the Books effect, get back a Yamada also. This way you can apply pressure to your opponent while keeping a blocker up. It's not as good as just outright killing them, but in some situations against Bahamut, this is the play you're going to be looking for so that you can block their Bahamut while still trying to deal damage. You can also just hard cast Reforts earlier in the game to have them in place so that they're there ready for you to deal with your opponent. Another thing that this deck struggles with, or would seem to struggle with, is playing through Zeeks. Being able to shuffle your graveyard in so that you're not able to actually keep your reanimate targets in there. It's very important to try to actually sandbag some of the targets in your hand when you go to reanimate. That way you can play your spell, your opponent can Zeeks you in response, you let the Zeek resolve, shuffle your graveyard in, then you can tap these guys to draw some more cards, but then just bin the cards again. So put, like, if you have both these in play, put the Yamada and another Refarth in your graveyard. Then your Genesis will resolve since the Zeeks is no longer sitting on the chase. And you'll be able to get your whole combo back anyway through graveyard hit. This happens way more often than I thought it would. One of my worries when building this deck was like, okay, sure, maybe I'll be able to race Bahamut, but how in the world will I beat Vlad? But just from playing the matchup a little bit, it actually comes up way more often than you would expect that you're able to just loot away in response and refill your graveyard to kill them if you've been setting up well. But yeah, this deck has been getting a ton of support. Like I said, super, super low-key. Nostradamus is an insane buff. Book of Ebon helps a lot. And Guinevere, honestly, this deck might benefit more from Guinevere than any other deck in the game. And this card is honestly just ridiculous. It fits in so many decks so well, but this deck takes huge, huge advantage of it. I do have another list of this deck that uses the 8 Regalia that we have just to get mana a little bit faster in order to increase your clock to a turn 3 win. But you really have to live in Magical Christmas Land for that to get there, so I don't really feel that as much as I used to. It is fun, but not super necessary. Against slower matchups, you're also able to use Scheherazade to flipper and just search out whichever combo piece you're missing, which does give you a little bit more consistency. Though I haven't had trouble finding the combo on my own, just with the million of draw cards in this deck. Millions of draw cards, blah. Little Red can give you whichever mana you need, like I said, so it's an important card in the deck because it will fix for you to cast Genesis if you have awkward mana for some reason, or Book of Ebon. And it also pumps your Yamada up. Giving him an extra 200 does represent a lot more damage, especially if your opponent for some reason like gained life or something goofy, so this plus Refarth will certainly kill them. And Feasting is very useful for preventing removal spells. It was a toss-up for me between this and Almirius. Almirius is probably better against Bahamut decks because you can fly over if they're onto what you're doing and they keep blockers back. But being able to play Feasting against other decks to prevent removal, or even the blocker Crime and Punishment against Bahamut, seemed more relevant to me. But there you guys go. It's Reanimator. If you've played Magic, you know how irritating decks like this can be. It feels a lot like Tin Fins almost. You don't win the game on turn 1, but you play a Reanimate spell and the game just ends, which is really cool. One of my favorite things to do anyway. I love combo decks of all flavors. So, I don't know, it's a ton of fun. If you guys have any questions about the deck, different matchups, sideboard plans, or anything, please feel free to let me know down below in the comments. I'd be more than happy to talk to you guys about it. Other than that, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video. There will be tons more Force Will content coming soon. You can expect a lot of different profiles and maybe some feature matches from our ARG Circuit Series event we're holding in the middle of next month, or end of next month, I guess, September 20th. So if you guys are interested in that, feel free to ask some questions. It's going to be a really awesome event. We're going to have a ton of fun with it. But other than that, I will see you guys soon.